We have a tornado warning for Alamance County until 9 o'clock this morning. This was just issued. Tornado watches are in effect for the Fox 8 viewing area until 3 o'clock this afternoon. Let's go ahead and take a look at the radar and see where the storms are that are causing this warning. As we zoom down to Alamance County, here we go. I'm going to go ahead and survey the storm, let you know about the velocities within this storm as well. I'm going to switch over to a different computer because this one actually is a bit more responsive. Okay, back over into Alamance County. This is a much better signature for a tornado. All right, so it's a little bit closer, first of all, to our radar site back over into Raleigh. So whenever you see the greens and reds, that's the winds being surveyed moving away from the radar and toward the radar. And the brighter the colors, the more rotation you're going to have. Now, this is still pretty broad rotation. What we look for typically in a very strong tornado is going to be pixels that are right next to each other, bright red, bright green. But in this case, we have a broad rotation. It's a rotating thunderstorm. You can see a strike of lightning just to the southeast of Rock Creek there. And it's moving to the north at 30 miles per hour. I'm going to zoom in on street level. Here, Greensboro Chapel Hill Road, right there under that rotation. Snow Camp Road as well. Griffin Road and Wolf Lane. And zooming out just a bit, I want to put a little window here for where the storm is headed and times of arrival for you. It's moving up here to the north at about 30 miles per hour. Let's see if we can get that to register. And I'll zoom out a little bit more. Sometimes it's a bit contrary. All right, up to the north we go. Snow Camp at 8:33 this morning. So, I mean, that's imminent. Just in the next minute or so, the center is going to be moving right over Snow Camp. Swepsonville at 8:51. And notice how close Swepsonville is to that I-40 and US 70 interchange. So lightning is preceding the rotation itself. If you're hearing lightning and thunder in your neighborhood, you're going to be very close to where this storm is. If we could flip prompter, that would be helpful. Thank you very much. I'm going to just clear this off and see if we can't get a little more information on the street level radar. I'm going to zoom back down in here. This storm continues to move to the north at about 30 miles per hour. Pretty good clip. I'm going to take that off there too. And I'm going to see if we have anything from the National Weather Service. Snow Camp Road is a good indicator for where this storm is headed, back up to the north. All right, this tornado warning, Doppler indicated, and we knew that was the case. Radar indicated rotation, Graham, Mebane, and Elon around 8:45. Again, this warning is in effect until 9 a.m. So Graham, Mebane, and Elon will be near that storm at 8:45. Burlington around 8:50. Some other locations that may be affected: Snow Camp, we know that. Alamance, the town of Alamance, Lake Burlington, Sutphin, and Haw River. Take cover right now. We want you to go to the lowest level of the structure where you are if you're in the path of this storm. And I'm going to zoom out so you can see some of the towns up ahead because they're forecasting this storm to be moving to the north at 30 miles per hour, which puts it very close to Burlington, close to the expiration time. But there you go, Burlington at 9:02. Let me redo that for you. My fans got a little bit carried away. Move you back up here towards Burlington, Swepsonville, and Snow Camp imminently. Swepsonville at 8:53, Graham at 8:58, and 9:01 in Burlington. We'll switch over to the radar now and show you what is going on radar as it's moving to the north. We don't have any ground confirmation for this storm, just so you know, and it's producing lots of lightning and thunder ahead of any rotation on the radar. Go ahead and put that in. Gosh, really, really strong thunderstorm here at the very, very least. I'm going to see if I can take a slice on this storm and show you what's happening inside it, because we can oftentimes nail down how close that rotation is to the ground as we survey this. This is such a great tool, by the way, just for seeing where the storm's rotation is. If you look, remember greens and reds are inbound and outbound. So if our radar is back over here to the east, We're seeing these winds. This is where we're seeing just that broad rotation right here on our radar. And the tops, the rotation really does spin up quite nicely here, the inbound rotation all the way into the tops of these clouds, which is a good 20, 30,000 feet. So let's see, I'm going to go back down to see what neighborhoods this would be. Again, I think this is going to be a snow camp event for the folks down here. And yeah, so as we zoom into that rotation, this is where we can see if I can get right in here. And I don't know if it's going to give me the street level information or not, but hey, there we go. Greensboro Chapel Hill Road, Greensboro Chapel Hill Road, Snow Camp Road. Again, that's very very consistent, and we like that. So around the town of Snow Camp, you're getting that broad rotation right now, and this is moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. In Swepsonville, I know you're getting that lightning moving into town currently, and with this storm moving up towards I-40 and US 70, that's a point of concern because, of course, Burlington's one of the bigger cities here in Alamance County. Our storm is way down here to the south, and as it moves up to the north, number one, we have a big corridor of travel here between the Triangle and the Triad. So that's one point of concern. Lots of lightning ahead of the storm. You can see there's about 25, 30 miles between the center of the rotation anyway, the problem area, and the lightning back up here to the north. But so we have a highly populated area. We also have a lot of commuters going on, and it's Friday. So this is going to be a really, really tough one to forecast because folks are on the road. They may not hear about the tornado warning. But if you're in your home or business and you're sitting pretty and wanting to know what to do, make sure that you go to the lowest level of your home. If you're in Alamance County, if you're in Swepsonville or Burlington or even Mebane, Saxapahaw, you may be spared some of the rougher weather, though you are going to have some lightning and thunder out there that you will have to be listening to, and some heavy rain as well. But we want you to go to the lowest level of your home, away from windows, and if you can pull something over you, especially if you're going into a bathroom or your bedroom, away from windows, that's the key. Pull a blanket over you or a towel and stay put. You got to stay at the lowest level of your home till this tornado warning is over with. Now, the rotation is still way down here to the south. With this warning forecast to expire at 9 o'clock, we still have, 22 minutes left? And in that span of time, it is expected to approach the I-40 corridor. Again, I'm going to put a fan up here so you can see our estimated points of arrival. Okay, oh, latest update, good, I like that. It gives us a little more information. So again, the brightest reds and greens right here. See if I can get, there's our roads. All right, so this has moved to the north. Thompson Mill Road, you're right there near the rotation, moving just to your west, actually. Bass Mountain Road, Brook Hill Road, Bass Mountain Road goes all the way up there to the north. So this is where our rotation is right now. Still, though, the numbers, or rather the colors, are not as bright as they would be if there were a really well-defined funnel, for example, occurring. But they have updated that warning. I can see it flashing in the background. Let me see what information we have on that. And I'm going to zoom out just a little bit and take a look at radar and you can survey that while I am reading about it. So they trimmed off the warning for the southern part of Alamance County. Great. That's good news for you guys. Rock Creek, you're still under this warning. And let's go back over here and see what information. The tornado warning continues here for Alamance County. This is, again, radar indicated. There is no ground confirmation right now. The new estimated times of arrival in Graham and Elon around 8:55, Mebane around 9, Burlington around 9:05. So there must be some wobbling somewhat in the track because the track simply isn't going to be as wide as Burlington and Mebane. But this is going to be a storm capable of producing a tornado. And Lake Kamek Park and Marina, the Altamaha, Ossipee, Glen Raven, Lake McIntosh Marina, and Union Ridge. That's where we're going to have this very strong thunderstorm moving overhead. Go to a sturdy building if you're not in one. If you're in a mobile home and you're in the path of the storm, if it's right over you, do not leave where you are. But if you are in the path of the storm, go to a more stable structure that has a foundation on it. The rotation right now is just here in the southern portion of where you see this red cutoff line, and it's moving to the north at about 30 miles per hour. So the time of arrival up here to the north around I-40, Burlington, and Mebane, this section of Alamance County, because it does have a somewhat northeasterly component to its travel here. The time of arrival is close to 9 o'clock. And so that's when you're going to have to be ready to take cover. And I would do it well earlier, well before the 9 a.m. time frame. This storm's continuing to move northward, producing lots of lightning ahead of the rotation itself. So it's dangerous just in that it's producing so much lightning. And the tornado warning that's in effect, though it is Doppler indicated, is a much better signature than we saw earlier for the tornado warning down in Chatham County and Randolph County earlier. And this is the same system coming out of Nicole that is continuing to bring that tornado threat to the Piedmont. Now, the eastern end of the Piedmont is under a tornado watch until 3 o'clock this afternoon. And the warning that's still in place here for Alamance County, central and northern Alamance County, that's going to be in effect until 9 a.m. But everybody's going to at least have the risk of more warnings coming out as we get into the afternoon, even through the lunch hour and into the early afternoon. So let's scan this one more time, see what we have as far as rotation, since we do have a brand new scan coming in. As far as our storm is concerned, we want to see that storm relative velocity. And what that does is it just subtracts out the actual motion of the storm and takes a look at just the winds within the storm. And that's so very important because these rotating thunderstorms are moving, and this way we can really see what the structure is like if you were to just flash freeze it right in place. So again, this is our latest scan. The problem area is going to be west of Highway 87. Saxapahaw, you're good. This is not going to be a threat to you. Highway 54, also okay on the east side of Alamance County until you get back up here to that 119 interchange. So we'll talk about that in just a moment. But for now, this storm is lifting almost due north. It's going to cross over Highway 87 shortly and then head back up here to the north near I-40 and the US 70 interchange. Rock Creek, you're probably all right. The rotation's down here to your southeast and moving northward. So though in Alamance you're hearing a lot of lightning and thunder, and Rock Creek also, you're probably hearing those rumbles. The threat from this storm as far as the rotating section of the thunderstorm is going to be out of your neighborhoods. We'll zoom down to street level, give you some street names here so you have something to go by. Bass Mountain Road and Thompson Mill Road, Tingen Road, I hope I'm saying that right. Let's look farther upstream here. Deer Vista Trail, and closer to where 87 is, and this is going to be a few minutes away, but the rotation's moving up here to the north. So this section of Highway 87 is where you may see some rotation overhead. Judge Sharp Road cutting across Highway 87, Bass Mountain Road comes in here too, and Woods Chapel Road, this interchange with Highway 87, that's approximately where the center of rotation may actually, if it survives, pull up there to the north and head near your neighborhood. So if you're in any of those neighborhoods on Patriot Place, Rogers Road, Thompson Mill Road, please take cover immediately. And you can keep your Fox 8 Max Weather app on the phone live. Updates are there on your radar, and you can see where the storm is and where it's heading. Looking once more, I'm just going to be looking through this to make sure that I've got all of the severe weather information here. New update on our warning. Let me see what the National Weather Service is saying here. Alamance tornado warning, no damage reports. That's great. It is still radar indicated, no confirmation on the ground, but there is enough rotation that they are keeping that warning in place for Alamance County. Southern end of Alamance County, you are out of the warning. But, and they are trimming it back. So Saxapahaw, you're out of the warning now. Rock Creek, you're going to be next in line, but the storm seems to be tracking to your east. So that bodes well for Rock Creek. Alamance County, you have a tornado warning for the central and north end of your county until 9 o'clock this morning. That's going to be your time of expiration. Okay, let's see here. Let's pop over to, we don't have any hail in these systems, so that is good news. We have very heavy rain coming down, and we're going to continue to have to deal with these tight rotations indicating this is a really good view. It's a higher resolution view. And the brighter reds are showing up now here. We're not seeing as much of the green, but remember this is inbound and outbound. Inbound, outbound. So this is a counterclockwise rotating storm. And some of these brighter reds along Highway 87, just where we were talking about, remember the roads I was just naming. This is where the rotation is crossing over now, heading up to the north near Graham. I'm going to put some more estimated times of arrival because this is new information, new scan, and quite good, I might add. As I zoom out just a little bit more, we'll put the storm up there, and I'm going to pop some information up. So as we are looking up to the northeast, it seems to have a little bit of a northeasterly trek on it. Here are some of our times of arrival. In Belmont, around 8:50, that's 3 minutes from now, a little under 3 minutes from now. Alamance, the town of Alamance, 8:53, but I think it's going to be a little bit east of the town of Alamance, just so you know. This is going to be within a few miles, but approaching the I-40 corridor. Burlington at 8:59, Haw River at 9:03, a little farther to the north. Green Level and Union Ridge after 9 o'clock, but remember that this warning expires at 9 o'clock. So we may not have to deal, they may reissue it, just depending on how much this storm holds together. But for now, the warning has an expiration time of 9 a.m. And Union Ridge, 9:16, you may not be dealing with any problems there. But down here south of I-40, and this is heading up towards Burlington and towards Graham, this tornado warning stays in effect, and it's actually moving at about 30 miles per hour, so at a pretty decent clip here. I'm going to put our velocities back up, and we'll zoom down to street level to survey some of these street names. Thompson Road, Wildwood Lane. The rotation is right there at Rogers Road. Wildwood Lane, Thompson Road. If you are near here, take cover. Caraway Drive upstream, Forest Drive also, and Andrews Avenue. You're in the path of this storm and you need to take cover immediately. If this is your neighborhood, just around that Highway 87, these are some of those neighborhoods just off Highway 87. And farther upstream, Ross Street, Old Farm Road, or Old Farm Drive, excuse me, Ivy Road and Eastway Lane. You need to take cover right now. Now, 87 crosses over I-40, and this is a big shopping district, as we all know, over towards Burlington and between Burlington and Mebane. As this storm continues to move up to the north, and I'm going to put this into motion just so you can see the way the storm is traveling. Let's see if we can get that put on a loop for you to show the evolution of the storm. It doesn't want to cooperate. That's all right. Let's go over here. I'm going to slow that down. That's ridiculous. Let's do very slow. And there we go. So it's moving almost due north. And I don't know if I can change over to velocities. It's not going to let me loop that for you. But earlier, our storm was down here just to the south. I'm just going to put a little marker where we saw it coming up. So it's been traveling up this way from the south. And you can see there's just a little bit of a northeasterly component. It's not going due north, but that has a big impact downstream because even if you have just 1 or 2 degrees off of that due north, it ends up being a really wide trek that you're taking back up here farther away from your point. So if it had been going due north, Burlington would be right under the gun, but now it's looking like it's traveling a little bit closer to just east of Burlington and maybe clipping Green Level up there to the north. Again, this is a new update as it's approaching I-40. This is going to be a problem if this storm is holding together because it's such a heavily traveled area of roadway, and we don't want any problems anywhere in our Fox 8 viewing area, of course, but where there is a high level of population and drivers who are probably struggling with just the rain alone. This is going to be a really rough situation for our drivers here through Alamance County. Please consider just waiting a minute or two before you head out that door. I'm going to reorient this because I do think that we need a little more information on there, and it does need to be a little bit farther north. All right, so estimated times of arrival around Graham at 8:56, Haw River back up here north of I-40, right along US 70 at 9:01. Our warning's supposed to expire at 9 o'clock. That's the way it looks right now. That's where our warning is in the timeline. But if the storm holds together, they can very easily extend the warning. And so I-40 and US 70 will both be in this. Okay, I'm reading from the National Weather Service. The Alamance tornado warning rotation with the cell has decreased a fair amount, and they are reporting that it has already crossed over 85, so our computer is lagging a little bit behind just by a minute, but it's moving at such a fast rate of speed, it's not too far off. I mean, from this, it's just putting it about 2 miles below I-40, excuse me. But it has crossed over I-40 and is headed up towards Haw River. Its rotation, and we can see this actually, there's a lot of bright red on the rotation currently, but you notice the greens are really muted out. We're not seeing the bright green. And so we have outbound winds, but very weak inbound winds, and that's not going to indicate a really strong rotating thunderstorm, nor would it indicate a tornado at this point. But still, this is going to be a powerful storm that's going to produce gusty winds. Even if it's not producing tornadoes, it's going to produce very gusty winds and a whole lot of lightning and low visibility as these downpours come across I-40. They have not dropped this warning, by the way. I haven't seen any indication of that yet out of the National Weather Service, but they trimmed back the warning for the southern end of Alamance County, and the rotation is weaker. These storms can pick up their rotation once more. That is always something that can happen. But presently, we're not seeing the storm as intensely well-defined as it was earlier. So that's great news. It continues, the heaviest rain continues to approach I-40 and US 70, so we still have a ways to go to get that type of really rough environment as far as heavy rain and reduced visibility. That's going to be out of the way shortly. Lightning precedes the storm, and we're seeing it move just to the east of Burlington, so that bodes well for Burlington itself. If you have any storm reports, we'd love to hear them. Ground confirmation is always something so valuable. There's only so much our computers can tell us, and so we always welcome hearing from our viewers about what they are seeing. All right, so here's that rotation north of I-40 now and along Highway 70 and moving up towards Green Level, hugging just parallel to Highway 49, in fact, up to the north of I-40. So this storm, still weak rotation, and it's getting weaker. You can see that by the colors of red that are getting more and more muted and darker here, as the green is also very muted. This is moving up to the northeast, hugging Highway 49, but it looks like the worst of it is pretty much winding down. We still have another 5 minutes on this warning, the tornado warning for Alamance County. And something that happens with these tornadoes in tropical environments like we have right now, the ones that are produced by tropical storms, or in this case, a tropical depression, they can hop and they spin up very quickly and then they fizzle out very quickly. So still, this is an environment that we may see more this type of rotating thunderstorm that can produce tornadoes. We're probably going to see a decent amount of rotation within the thunderstorms today. That's just what we have in the environment because of Nicole down to our south. Current radar image has, a lot of the rain is starting to wind down, at least temporarily, along I-40, which is super. We like seeing that. And I wouldn't be surprised if they trim this warning back a little bit more on the south side. They may be waiting for it to just expire at 9 a.m. But Saxonville, you're in the clear. Rock Creek, Alamance, and Swepsonville, you're in the clear. I'd say Burlington, you're probably going to be in the clear imminently as this storm moves northward. And farther up to the north, who's in the path? Well, let's take a look. Graham Hopedale Road is one of the roads that's going to be just to the west of the track of this storm. Lakeview Drive, Idlewild Avenue, Sandy Cross Road. If you live near here, Roney Lineberry Road. This is still a tornado warning. Deep Creek Church Road also. This is still a tornado warning, and the storm with some rotation is headed your way. So I'd say still take cover and keep your Max Weather app fired up on your phone. You can keep the information coming to you and any other warnings and updates to the warning that we have right now right there at your fingertips. So that's a great resource to have. This part of Alamance County, Lakeview Drive, Roney Lineberry Road, and Deep Creek Church Road, you have the storm headed your way right now. It may not be producing a tornado at the moment, and I hope that continues to hold and be the case, but still, it is going to be a really strong thunderstorm coming through. It's producing quite a lot in the way of rain. I can just query part of this storm, and it's producing 3.6 inches per hour in rainfall, which is a massive amount. So just to take note of that, if you're going to be on the roads, you're going to have very, very low visibility as you are heading out onto the road. So I'm going to just take that one note off and zoom out just a little bit. Lightning and thunder on the north end of Alamance County. Our velocities right now still kind of weak, not a really great, well-defined rotation. It's there, but it's incredibly broad, and certainly wouldn't indicate necessarily a funnel in this storm. We have now expired the tornado warning for Alamance County. Okay, so our computer will be getting that update shortly, but for now the National Weather Service has let that the warning expire a few minutes early, and we can send it back to the newscast.